Recorded live Tuesday, December 3rd, 8:02 a.m.
What?
Good morning, good afternoon, Brody and Ray. This is Edward from the future. How's everyone doing? Everybody good?
Good. Not bad for a Monday.
Not bad for Ed. Ed is working on his tan. Look how you see how clean and glistening.
You are glowing. I'm envious.
So for those who are, yeah, awesome shirt, right? Check it out. Get
Nice
your swag.
Yeah.
For those who probably wonder what my crazy intro is about, I am currently in, where am I? I'm in Brisbane, Australia. It's been a while.
Yeah, Brisbane.
Yeah, I'm in Australia. That's what I'm doing.
In Brisbane, in Australia. That's
Australia. It is a balmy, let me see what temperature it is right now at 9 a.m. in the morning. It is, wait for it, 78 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, love it.
I'm loving it. Yeah, I'm on holiday, as they say in our European counterparts, or vacation for the United States, and I'm in the land down under. I got a Tasmanian Devil wrestling match coming up here soon, and I got a rematch. Yeah, I'm going out to watch some drop bears a little bit later on.
Oh, the drop bears are great. Yeah, I love the drop bears.
Yeah, so good trip. I actually got to meet with Andre Camalo. He was one of our guests that lived in New Zealand. He was in Auckland, so I got to meet and have lunch with him. Got pictures. I forgot to put him on the show, so it was good to see him. He was happy to catch up, and it was a good discussion with him and everything. So I had fun there. Then I left from there, and we went to Melbourne. So had a good time in Melbourne. A little bit overcast. Weather was great. Lots of hills in the city. Spent 3 days there. So now I'm in Brisbane, however you say it.
Right.
Brisbane. And the weather here is phenomenal. I mean, the high today is going to be 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And the sun is different here. I think I'm below the equator. It burns different. You know what? So I never wear sunscreen. I'm wearing sunscreen here. Yeah. So that's been nice, man. So how have you guys been, Ray? Tell me what's going on. Seems like I haven't seen you in a month of Sundays.
A month of Sundays? That sounds so poetic. Let's see. Keeping it together has been a whirlwind. We had the holidays here in the States, and then trying to put together Christmas festivities for my 5-year-old, and she's under the weather, poor thing. So lots of activity in the personal front. I feel like I'm still decompressing from the whirlwind that was Ignite. So we need to meet in person, Edward. It wasn't the same without you. Your absence was like so profound, and like, that said, and also still like figuring out our next Defender Experts webinar, like talking about work and all that stuff. We're meeting with some partners this week, working with the threat researchers, the hunters, and the analysts, figuring out what's on the schedule and roadmap for our next installment. And it just has not been quiet. You would think the Monday after the holidays, people would just take some time to, get back into the saddle. Oh no. Oh, they're going saddleless. So it's been quite the adventure just this Monday. This is a very humble Monday, and I feel humbled. But it's good. These are good problems to have, to be in demand, as they say. So that's my update for me. Brody, What about you?
Awesome. Today's just been back to back all day. No holiday for Team Canada up north last week. So Thursday and Friday are always nice and quiet, which is great. So I could get more things done. But I do work with some Canadian customers, and so it wasn't like all total downtime, but I was able to at least catch up on a lot of things. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm just kind of like, I hit a wall just before this show started. So the whole day's been a whirlwind of just meetings with customers, and everything's high priority. And some things might need to get done before the holidays, like or they don't. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. And,
Yeah.
I'll just roll with it. But work aside, my daughter turned 6 months today. Happy birthday, Elise! Happy birthday! And we are trying solid food this time, and so that was super fun. Bananas and some rice pudding, and my dog was super stoked about cleaning up all the mess that was generated, and it was adorable. It was a really nice break. So all's good. All's good. Just like drained, but good. Things are good. Good to hear.
Yeah. Your microphone is sounding a combination of hollow and Doppler, or it may be my internet connection.
No, it's I felt it was a little. You started sounding a little ominous there, but it's adding to your mystique, Brody.
Yeah.
I will talk closer to the microphone moving.
There you go.
We're in the ASMR segment of the show. I feel soothed.
Yeah. You Brody, you're in one of those crazy positions. I don't know. You do cover American customers, so Thanksgiving is not really a holiday for you. So you lose time or you gain time because nobody's bothering you, so you can get work done. I think you said that, right? Then you come back and everything's a rush because all of them took anywhere between 3 to 4 days off. Now they want to come back and rush. Yeah, it's all right for me. Good times. Decompressing a little bit. I actually can never get away from work. Renewed a couple of certifications that were coming due. Zero panic, just got it done, got it out of the way because I don't want to have to take those exams over. Enjoying the weather. I meant to see Miro, our previous guest, onshore ID security expert, but his son was graduated from high school this weekend in Melbourne, so we weren't able to connect. But I do believe I have a couple of more colleagues, and I believe one guest we've had on. So my last stop over the weekend would be Sydney. So I'm actually going to go to Sydney, try to find a little 5-kilometer race there over the weekend. Say I ran a race in another country. It's been a while since I've done that, and just go hang out. So weather's great. The people in Australia are super, super friendly. It feels like a sci-fi movie. Like everybody's, "Hi, may I help you, mate?" They're going to get us. They're going to get us. They're just waiting. They're going to inject us with venom of eggs or something. No. But everybody is so friendly here. We were looking like we were, how you have your phone, you're trying to find somewhere, no less than 4 people walk up. "How may I help you?" "Well, we're trying to find you." "Well, come on, I'll take you there." Like, okay, let's go. And it's been great.
Sweet.
The flight is not for the faint of heart. 14 hours, and that's because we broke up the flight.
Oh.
And we stayed a night in LA to just sort of get our bodies ready, and then that was another 14 hours to Auckland, and then from Auckland we flew into Melbourne. That was another 4.5. Between Melbourne and Brisbane, it was 2 hours. What do you like? Brisbane. It sounds like Bane. I'm a Batman guy. Like
No, it's
It's
never mind.
I know.
Yeah. All right. So now, coming off the holidays, I know that Ray, you said that you're getting ready for your next Defenders expert, either fireside or talk chat. So that's working on you, Brody. You're always busy. So to ask you what you're doing is just like infinity circle. Yeah, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Any breaking news though? Anything super?
This was there's like a good one pager floating around internally, and I haven't looked at the external book of news from Ignite, but this was definitely like a major amount of purview announcements that took place, and it was extensive. I mean, one of the major announcements that came out of that whole thing, and I'm going to paraphrase it, was the capabilities around managing LLMs and content from LLMs through the purview stack. And I thought there was a really good few presentations on how we can do that. And there's a ton of really interesting product announcements in there. And I will pull up the link for like the Ignite Book of News, because pretty much every organization that got on the bandwagon to employ some sort of OpenAI or other LLM-based application in their environment should take a look at these, because if you're not already protecting against or with these solutions, you should be doing something, and not just letting it sit idly by. And I think the product team acknowledged that, and that's why this was like a big focus area, because everybody is like, oh, we need AI because everyone's got AI. I need AI capitalism. And now we got to actually protect it. So excuse me, I'm gonna take a call.
Yeah, you're starting to see more companies realize that, you know, the big dogs hold the major LLM repositories, right? So you're talking Google, talking Microsoft, talking Meta. You know, I'm not really super versed in what AWS is doing in this, but you're starting to see these, I won't say second tier, because that sounds like it's a drop down, but you're starting to see these other AI companies who are having their own language models, as well as maybe, I forget the term, when you're borrowing references from others, that you do need to protect it, because the big boys are always going to have their responsible AI and security initiatives in place, but when you're using third parties and co-mingling and stuff, I really want to get a little bit more in depth in that myself to understand it. I cover Copilot, but, you know, I'm still doing so much traditional threat protection, threat hunting, whether it be Dex, whether it be Sentinel, whether it be the XDR suite. I don't have a lot of time to sort of spread my learning attention span across other products, but it seems like I have to now. It is really, really moving. You'd be surprised how powerful just Copilot for 365 is. If you use it in business, it's amazing. I use it to figure out a couple things here, but all that. But hey, we're going to go ahead and get our guest in. I happen to know this individual. He's been a great guy for as long as I've known him. I am happy he's coming on the show to talk about one of his new initiatives that he's doing at Microsoft. It seems like he's done so much, but he seems super excited about it, so it makes me excited about it. So we're going to add our guest in and let him introduce himself. So let me find the magic button here. Jerry!
I'm in. Woo! Hey, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing well. What about you, sir?
Oh, I still think I'm in a turkey coma, and it's a few days later, but that's good. You know, it's just the best time to get with family and eat a bunch of stuff. It's the only day of the year I can have unlimited pieces of pumpkin pie without guilt. My wife says it's all good. So that is the one day I can just stuff with pumpkin pie, which is my favorite. So all of that is good.
I had zero turkey, zero dressing, zero any. Thanksgiving, I'm not home, and there was no restaurant that's like, oh yeah, we have American Thanksgiving dinner. Like, we don't do that. You're good.
Wow.
You'll eat
It's the spirit of the holiday. When
Right. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
But I did eat my share of lobster, so I started pretending like they were sea turkeys.
Nice.
Not so bad. Not too shabby there.
Not bad at all. Jerry, welcome to the show. It is good to see your face again. It's been a minute. I'm noticing in the title it says Chief Security Advisor Microsoft TSI. Is that I?
Yeah.
You know, my eyes are getting no pun. So hey, give our listeners a little rundown of who you are, what you've done, and what you're doing now. I sort of know, but I'm still a little behind. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, if you think back about it, it's a long, good career. I've been very blessed and thankful to have a career at Microsoft. I've been at Microsoft just a little over 22 years. I left for 1 year and I returned last year, and that's part of the story here in a minute. I've been in technology probably 30 years total, but it's not about how many years I've been in technology. I love Microsoft. I left last year and no problem. I just thought I want to go and work with partners, which I absolutely love, our security partners. But a friend of mine came to me and she said, there is a role here at Microsoft I think you're perfect for. And I said, I'm okay. I think it's great. But she said, no, it's you. And when someone knows you that well, I've known her probably 15 years, works at Microsoft still. And she said, look, it's for TSI, just like you said. I said, what is that? It's Tech for Social Impact. Okay, there's lots of acronyms at Microsoft. I said, well, what exactly is that? And she said, well, we are helping nonprofits defend themselves against cyber criminals. And I'll tell you, Edward, I just thought to myself, you know, using my mind, like all the 30 years of my career, everything you learn, and my heart helping nonprofits defend themselves against cybercrime. I mean, I tell you, I hope we're not recording this because I would have done it for free. Like I would have taken the job for free. And when you say that in your heart, you're in the right job. So that I did. I returned, and I am our chief security advisor, which means that I cover the U.S. We have counterparts across the rest of the world, but most of our nonprofits, I will help them with strategy. And I guess two big things that I've been working here. That's 12 weeks now. 12 weeks I've been working this job, and 9 of the weeks I've been traveling all over the U.S. because I love visiting these nonprofits, anywhere from Manhattan to Los Angeles. I've been through them all. But what's really interesting to me is that they are in need. Like they really are in need. They're understaffed. The problems they have is they don't have enough funding. And what's crazy to me is that if you look at the industries most targeted by cyber criminals, it's government still. I guess that's no surprise. Microsoft is not number 2. It's nonprofits took the number 2 spot last year, which is crazy, right? I'm like, I don't know if you believe in heaven or hell, but there's a special place in hell for those that attack kids with cancer. I'm just like, there can't be. But, and so that gives me extreme energy to go out and help them. And 2 things I talk to most executives about at nonprofits, 2 things. They are tired of their best of breed, which just means they have a lot of tools and they're drowning in them. They didn't have resources to figure out how to tie them together to begin with. And so this best of breed, best of platform conversation is still alive and well, especially with this segment. The second is AI. That's all they want to talk about is AI now because their board says get AI tomorrow. And they're like, well, how do we do that? How do you do it responsible? And, I think Brody was talking about, Ignite and about Purview, which is kind of a diamond in the rough for us, I think, for sure. But when I talk to customers about AI, it's about AI governance is what I'm really asking them. I'm saying, first thing, if you're going to do AI, do you have visibility? Like who's using what? Inside, outside? You can use Microsoft 365 Copilot or any of our Copilots. The hundreds of LLMs out there, ChatGPT, BART, on and on and on. Can you even see what people are doing? That's kind of a first step. And then the other is security. Could you stop them? Could you even gate that? Could you do that? Forensics, you have to say, well, who's using what and how they do that? I also like the next pillar is intent. Like, what are they doing? I visited a nonprofit and they had a guy and they were looking at his usage like 50, 60 times a week using this model external. And so they went and interviewed him. They said, what are you doing? He said, he's a sales guy. His job is to reach out to get people on the phone, right? And everybody knows how many of those you get. You're like, hey, I'd like to talk to you about whatever, and you delete or maybe ignore it. What he was doing is using the AI for is to tailor his message for healthcare, tailor his message for manufacturing, tailor his message for on and on and on. And he was getting a return on that. He was getting phone calls. And I'm telling customers, do you want to stop that? I mean, you don't want to stop the success he had, but you may want to be a little bit more responsible for it. And the last thing I tell them is education. How do you help them become better AI users? And so long-winded, what are you doing, Jerry? I'm excited, as you can see. I am helping nonprofits defend themselves against cybercrime. That's my main goal, and ultimately help them in their mission. They don't want to worry about technology. They want to eradicate homelessness or whatever their mission is. So that's what I've been up to, man.
Yeah. You said a few interesting things. You were saying helping nonprofits, and some of the things sort of resonate, like, underfunding, right? You're a nonprofit, you're not for profit, and funding is one of those things that sort of is always, dogging that particular industry, right? Dogging not being ultimate word, but always a concern of things. Funding. Even though nonprofits do get concessions, don't make no mistake, nothing is ever free. You just get concessions a certain amount. Staffing is a big thing too. You have one of those unique problems that it sounds like when you do get staff adequately, and they become skilled adequately, now you have to contend with attrition and maybe for-profit corporations telling away your good people. But out of those two that seem to be, always consistent of a sort, is there something else, another particular nuance that you wish you could eliminate in nonprofits that would make them better? You know, if you had more money, that would help. If you had more staff, that would help. But if you had one more thing, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're doing it. I think training is big for them, and you'd be surprised actually that I like statistics, and so I think it's 30 some odd percent of nonprofits are more active users of M365 Copilot. This isn't a plug for Copilot. What I'm saying is that since they're so woefully understaffed, they're actually having to use technology to get a little bit more precise in what they're doing. And so that we see an uptick in that for sure over commercial business. So that's actually a good thing. I think it's a really great point that they can't, there's no choice for them yet to be very precise in what they're doing. And then Copilot is helping them do that today. So I thought that was really good. But the training thing, I think will always be sort of my extra ask, you know, and I don't know if it's just training nonprofits because this AI language that we're all speaking, prompting, it's just a different kind of a language that we're doing. And, you know, we do have an initiative, a skilling initiative at Microsoft to help train people in AI. And so I'll step just back 1 second is TSI. I said that a bunch. Yeah. We have a big group. It's called CELA, Corporate Legal Affairs at CELA. It's our big group. Brad Smith is who I report to. So I report up to Brad Smith. I don't report up to commercial business. And so part of our model, which is interesting, is that we're nonprofit ourselves. Like we don't try to make a profit. We will break even, and all monies that we make go back into grants, which, you know, last year, Microsoft as a whole, between discount and grants worldwide, $4.2 billion we gave away last year to nonprofits. And so that's pretty crazy for sure. But the CELA, this big CELA, there's the philanthropy, which sits inside of CELA. That is the AI skilling initiative across the world. Like we said, we're going to skill a million people in Italy. We started a data center there. I think you saw that in the news. Maybe you did, but we said 1 million of your people we're going to skill. So that's the philanthropy. And then we're down here. Our group does, you know, like threat AI, cloud, and so that's how we help them. And so we're kind of in this bigger group where, you know, we're part of that as well. So yeah, so I think it's really great. Sitting in this group, you know, I was in Seattle a few weeks ago, 2,300 attorneys. It was a party, you know, I was like a great party with all of our attorneys, you know, like these guys know how to party. But you know what? They're very, very good. You know, I thought a lot of customers, I asked them, do you have an AI use policy? Like, you know, you have general counsel. Have you created something to say, do not use, or you can use? And some of them might have something, some of them may not. But our group created a template, and they give it away for free. We say, this is a good AI use policy. We use it. This is the one we use, but it's a template that you can get a head start on making your own. And so there's assets like that from each of our groups that are really valuable to these nonprofits.
I would think that trying to make an AI template seems daunting at first, especially if you don't have an underlying understanding of the technology or the capability.
Yeah.
To me, it would be like someone says, do you have a template on how to use a browser or search engine?
Exactly.
Yeah, search, fast, I don't know. Well, before we move on, I think Brody and Ray have a question, but you were saying that under things, a lot of these places you go, they have a hodgepodge of stuff, right? Best of breed.
Yeah.
That because of the very nature that they're getting a lot of this stuff from either no cost to low cost. So you take what you can, and now you're burdened with the integration.
Yes. Right? You nailed it, man, because think about it, like Google will come in a season and they'll be like, guess what? It's, you know, free flowers or whatever, you know, and then they're gone, right? And so now they're stuck with something. And that, I'm not picking on Google. I mean, others do it as well. Again, I think that's part of the benefit of us. We've been around 7 years, and like our software is not like, hey, you get it and now you don't. So it's integrated. But my point is they get a lot of, I mean, when you're strapped for cash and resources and someone says free seems nice, right? Like the old Steve Ballmer, free like a puppy. It's not free. You know, you have to integrate that stuff, right? And so that's where they're sitting. But a lot of them have realized that they're in a terrible spot that way, you know, and even if they're outsourcing some of their security operations, it's a hard job for that outsourcer to get any context or visibility. So they're really in a bad spot, even if they do have a good partner. So yes, they're all looking kind of struggling with that right now.
Yeah. Are the licenses
Good point.
primarily gifted or inferred to your nonprofit constituents A5, G5, or E5?
Say that again. I didn't catch that.
Are the licenses for nonprofit A5, G5, or E5?
No, they're the E's. They're not anything. You can't actually discount the G's. The government licenses can't be discounted. So if you wanted to have some kind of a GCC High Azure, you can't discount that at all, even if you're nonprofit. But we're regular commercial licenses. So E5, we sell E5, and they have E3,
Right.
and they get a great discount off that, man. Like a great discount. I mean, there's somewhere up to 60-70% off of those licenses. And in some cases we gift them. That's what I said, that 4.7 billion or 4.2, let me look. Yeah, 4.2. Some of it is like, if you're a nonprofit, I think it's 50 seats or smaller, you can apply for a grant and get the licenses for free.
Nice.
And yeah, there's 10 million nonprofits worldwide, and a lot of them fit in that category.
Yeah, I'm familiar with some of the licenses that go with that. I wasn't sure if it was across of the skewing perspective. I totally forgot about the G licenses. You cannot discount those.
Yeah.
No, I don't work in that arena enough. The A5 is education, so I wasn't really sure if it was A or E. But that's interesting to be able to do that. Yeah, cool. And that's primarily through a partnering entity called TechSoup, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's another benefit. It's not just TechSoup, is that we have a really good set of nonprofit partners. And what's great to me is they're driven by mission and helps. They're again not out there saying they could charge full price, and they do in the commercial world, but they are discounting not only some of the ISVs maybe, but they're discounting some of their services. So if they're saying, hey, we would love to get on a Microsoft Suite platform, but we don't know how to get there, we have funding mechanisms inside of our org to do that. And we refer to it as ESIF, which you're familiar with, but we have our own ESIF. It's not the same bucket you use. And so the idea is we have a set of partners and a way to help fund them to actually help get to where they need to go. Again, tremendous asset to some of these nonprofits that don't have staff to do that.
How big is your staff?
Terry?
Our staff, we cover we have 10 territories, as we call them, and I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have probably about 400 people in our org. From account managers, we have account technology specialists, we have solution specialists, as we call them now, SSPs. We have some Azure specialists, we have some data specialists, we have some developer specialists. So we really have an account team, just like commercial, account manager, team, and then we have a whole group that supports them, just like commercial.
Same representation. No, it's extraordinary. And I was wondering, you spoke a little bit about the showing up aspect and then bouncing out. And then, there's obviously some cynicism. I've been on the other side of the customer equation. I've encountered that. What is your recipe for building that trust and helping the decision makers that you have the privilege of partnering with appreciate that you are there for them and that you're there to stay and that you are committed to their success?
Yeah, I think, part of that is we'll talk about our history of 7 years, and you could check some of our competitors to say, well, how long have you had this focus on nonprofit? I don't think it's quite that long, and I don't think it's quite as in depth as we do. So first of all, we just say we have a history of doing that. And look, I'm going to be very, very honest with you, is that I look at all of our account teams, no matter what they do, account manager, account technology specialist. It's not the island of misfit toys. These people have chose to be here, which means that, it is such a great environment. Microsoft's already great. But it's even greater, if you can say that we're all there because we're really like using our hearts and mind to help these people. And there's a different kind of a culture with that. And so when you show up, it shows. I mean, it shows. We will go to sit there and, and these people know that they're getting such a good, just discount is one thing. They're getting a discount. They're getting our passion and they're getting our thinking. And we bring in, I call you guys sometimes. I say, you know what? Edward, I know Edward does this or some global black belt that's a specialist, I'll reach out to them and say, we don't have global black belt. Could you help us? So we're always kind of advocating for them. But their answer to your question is that I think they feel it because that's truly how we are showing up.
No, that's a wonderful point. Thank you for highlighting it. It's the same representation in the commercial space, but these are folks that chose to be there. They are already 100%. Galvanized, they are motivated, and they're dedicated. So
that's for sure. Hey, and I want to say for you, Edward, I think since education, it's really intriguing to me. We actually have a lot of people on our team from education. But what's interesting to me is that particular problems get solved by us bringing multiple groups of Microsoft together for the problem. And one specific one is our Rural Health Initiative. So whether you know what that is or not, what happens is there's rural hospitals. We decided to go out and put money, resources to help them. On a side note, statistically sad enough is that 400 hospitals had ransomware last year. 200 paid the ransom. And what's shocking to me is if you're an adversary, what are you doing? You're saying there's a 50-50 chance if I attack a hospital that's poor, they're going to pay. And that was like a $4 million average per hospital. So we're going out there and we're saying, okay, what can we do? And there's a big group from our legal department. There's a big group from our department and then education as well. Why? Because we're saying, you know what, like we need a security operations center, like in one of the states we're working right now with their government. We need a security operations center that would go out to all these 52 rural hospitals and basically do security for them because they will never staff it individually. So then we're saying, well, where do you get the people? And that's where education comes in. You know, there's a student-led SOC initiative going on in education, which says that how do we start training analysts, you know, and how do you get some partners to maybe use them for a year or two as, you know, interns? And how do we staff these kind of centers for that? So we're trying to bring all of our resources from education to commercial to our TSI to try to say, how can we solve that problem? And so that's exciting for me. That's exciting that we get to have that much resources to apply for customers like that.
No doubt. Especially since, like you say, you're not really a for-profit generating arm of Microsoft, which I think is like just a compelling reason why Microsoft has so much impact in the world because they can fund effectively these types of
Brody, when I walk in, the first thing I say, Brody, is hide your wallet. You know, I'm just kidding.
No, that's fair. Hey, have you ever met Brad Smith? I'm just a little sidebar. I think Brad Smith is one of the coolest people ever. I just the way he's just sorry. Go ahead. I'd love to hear your interactions.
He's one of the coolest people, but you know why he's the coolest person? Because he is who he is. Like he is the genuine. You see him at testifying in front of Congress. You see him like hanging out and talking to people. That's Brad Smith, and you know what a great guy. You know, I mean, you think we have a big heart in TSI? He is our heart, man. He's like. He really does care, you know, and he goes around the world and you follow him wherever you follow him. And that's truly him. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'm super proud to work for that organization and him. Yeah.
Very cool. No doubt. I when I was in Redmond a few years ago, I came across somebody who was under the SELA umbrella as well. And this was a group, and I forget the name, to be honest with you, you might know, but their whole existence was around supporting governments with dealing with disinformation and misinformation campaigns. Yeah. And you probably know the name. Maybe we could give them a shout out. But again, it's under SELA. It's not for profit. They have, like we have in consulting, they have their own IP kits and delivery teams and groups that go in to assist government. And it's all comped effectively, right? Can you, if you know about that, I'd love to hear more about that. I'm sure
I do. I mean, I'm not catching the name. I can't remember the name of the group, but definitely that group was separate, especially during these elections. Like we had our election, obviously, but there was roughly 17 elections going on around the world that were impactful, all of that same time period. And so it wasn't just us trying to make sure that our democratic process was okay and not messed with. We were trying to, other countries were helping to do that as well. So I don't remember the name. It's a lawyer name for sure. That, you know, that group, you know, we're the Renegaders. I don't know what they were, but it would have been a good name. Anyways,
varsity jacket too.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, just another example, right, of like what the SELA organization is doing, whether it's you know, taking down. You spoke of ransomware, taking down ransomware infrastructure around the world, investigating these types of attacks. I mean, do you ever? I gotta ask. We when there's economic downturns and you're in an organization that isn't bringing in revenues, are there like long-term career stability concerns, or do you feel like this is a core part of Microsoft and it's going to continue that way, through thick and thin, effectively, right?
I think it'll continue through thick and thin, but I mean, honestly, Brody, as you know, the only thing that's constant is change. Obviously, it's an adage, but that's true. So there could be change. I'm always, ready for it when it does. Whatever it is, we're going to figure it out. But again, I go back to the history, the 7 years. It's only grown. Even during the downturn of Microsoft, look back, at some of the shifts in people. People came and gone. No one was reduction in force in our group. For the whole 7 years. So it hasn't been that, probably because we're understaffed so much that we're understaffed already. So, if you want to just take away the ones you were going to give us,
Yeah, that's the way.
Well, to that question and to your point, Jerry, I was going to ask, because I'm so fascinated by this. You are a seasoned, accomplished individual in business. Is that part of your secret to being successful in this role, and was it your previous success in the commercial space that helped reassure you that this is the next stage of your professional trajectory?
It's a great question. Thanks for asking. I love to read books, like physical books. I still love physical books, but I read a good book, if you're ever interested. It's called The Second Mountain. And the philosophy is that you have this mountain when you start your career, and you're going up this career mountain. And this was my first 30 years, 25, whatever it is. And you reach a part where you're saying, I've succeeded in whatever your goals were. The second mountain is more about meaning than money. And for me, I believe, I'm on this second mountain that says, I keep saying I do it for free. And again, this is what my heart says, and it's fine. They still pay. They pay a good wage. It's not like I took a pay cut or whatever. We pay fine. But at the end of the day, if I don't go to work focused on, hey, I'm going to get a paycheck or save enough money for more vacations or another house or whatever like that, I truly go there saying that, sitting in Manhattan with a nonprofit trying to eradicate homelessness, at least in Manhattan, is really exciting for me. It's really exciting for me to see they're actually making some progress there, or any of the other nonprofits out there for sure. But to your point, this is the pinnacle of my career. I've already made success in the commercial world. For me, this is the next success for me.
That's powerful. And what are the qualities do you feel like make somebody successful in this space? Because it is so much more grueling, I would say, because I feel like the humanity of these situations could weigh heavy on you for sure. So what do you think are the attributes and characteristics that make somebody successful?
I think I would say number one for me is empathy. That's something that people I try to practice it more, but it needs to be practiced more in this world, in my opinion. But I think empathy is probably a good skill, or I guess something you have that you need to be able to do that. Active listening is a great skill. My grandma said you got two ears and one mouth. You should use them in that kind of an order, whatever grandma say. But I think that's another one, but empathy is interesting, I think, because you have, imagine, I'm going to tell you an analogy quick. Okay. There's a hole, right? And Edward fell in the hole, right? He's in there, and someone's walking along and looks in and says, oh, sorry about your luck. It's apathy. They walk by, right? This person walks by and says, oh, poor you. I wish you weren't in there. That's sympathy. But you know what empathy is I jumped in the hole with you. With Edward. Nice. And Edward and I are in the hole together. That's true empathy, but it's a good analogy. But that's what I try to practice, is to say, how can I put myself in their spot to help them in their mission? And that's truly how I think.
And that's probably more prevalent in the things that we do, because unscientifically, 7 out of 10 times when you engage in someone on this call, who's in security, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I would tell people I'm cheaper before than I am after, right?
True.
So you have to have that empathy
Yeah.
and understand, hey, we did the best that we could with what we had, with what we knew, and things turned out bad. And then sometimes there isn't any. People go, well, you could have done more, right? Well, you do more when you know more or you have more. So you have to have that working in cyber. It's just, you can't come in judging, right? And that's even in big companies that have huge amounts of budget. You have to remember, you're working with the worker bees who've asked, but it wasn't prioritized.
Right.
But then when things doesn't go right, who gets stepped on first, right? You know, why didn't you guys tell us? Well, we did. Well, you should have yelled louder.
Exactly.
I don't
For
know,
sure.
right? And do that. And I know that about your personality since I met you years ago, and it's still true to form, right? Still jumping in holes.
Still jumping in holes. That's all people are going to remember. That guy jumped in holes.
Yeah, still jumping in holes, pulling people out. I get it, and doing it. I am just amazed. I did not realize how big your organization was. I really thought it was a percentile of what you said. Like, I thought you were going to say, "Oh yeah, it's about 15 of us," but see how large it is.
You know what's great though is like that's what strikes me is that 7 years old. I had no idea it existed at Microsoft when I was 7 years ago when it started. Okay, it might have been 15 people, but even 2-3 years in, I still didn't actually understand that it was around. So we're the best kept secret. I'm like, man, let's get that. But I'm going to tell you something else happens almost every time. I have a lot of friends over the years. You make friends, and so I connect with them. And they're like, "What are you doing now, TSI?" And they're like, "What is that?" I have to do the same thing we're talking about now. Inevitably, what happens is that they'll say, I'm helping myself at the firefighter thing. I'm volunteering at that thing. Everybody has a story that they connect with. And it's crazy, and then, I get, are you guys hiring? And I'm like, I don't know if we're hiring. Yeah. But point is people want to be a part of something that feels good to both their mind and their heart. I think, but they seem to share their own stories about the good they're doing, and nobody's really tracking that, right? All up, if you looked at 200,000 employees, we're probably doing better than what the money says we did. Okay, here's the giving month, and we gave money. It's all good, but I'm just saying we probably do way better than that. As these stories I keep hearing people say, one of them is like, I'm saving hedgehogs that are in my backyard. I take them to the vet. She looks at them for free, and I let them go in the wild. I mean, that's for hedgehogs. I'm like, great, it's awesome, man. You're saving hedgehogs. It's great.
Yeah, you save Sonny. There you go.
Yeah.
Sonny gets to live another day and everything. Well, you're as I told you, I'm traveling a little bit. I'm going to have to drop off, but your smile has always been infectious. When I see you, man, you make me laugh. You always tell a good joke. We have to catch up. It's been a minute. I knew about this 7 years ago. You know who sort of tipped me off on this? Ross McKee.
Wow, really?
He tipped me off. He was saying, "Hey, man, this may be something you need to look at with your stuff that you're doing that with." So, yeah, I know you know Ross.
I do, for sure.
Yeah.
Ross.
Everybody knows Ross. Who doesn't know Ross, right? So I ran into him the other day. Well, Jerry, when I get back to the States, I'm going to look you up. I do have two notepads full of questions for you that I want to ask. And it's good to see you back. Oh, I do have one more question before we leave. Do you have a peer? Is it just one of you that's running that, or is it two of you?
Two of me and what?
Do you have a peer?
There's only a peer of mine in Europe, and then there's a peer of mine that took over just a single job is United Nations, and so there's one of me that covers just United Nations. It's so big, I mean, it's crazy big how much that takes. And this individual, I backfilled his role, so he had went on to United Nations specifically, and I just took over the Americas, and so there's really, we say, three of us kind of.
Well, sir, it was great to see you. The rest of the team, unfortunately, I have to drop off a little bit early. Thanks so much, Jerry, for coming on. We'll be in touch, and
my friend.
And keep doing the hard work. Keep doing the good work out there and jumping in holes and saving people. So
you too, sir. You too, man. See you, my friend.
See you, sir.
All right.
Jerry, I got a question for you.
Now that Edward's gone, between Edward and I, you two can't get a word in. I just know it.
No.
he's gotten better over the years. He's definitely gotten better.
It's great.
Yeah.
You have me hanging on every word. Like I'm listening in fascination, and I think that that's such a noble calling. I think working in cyber in general is a noble calling, and then to focus specifically on nonprofits. And again, I think burnout is such a real hurdle challenge for us across the industry, but specifically for this segment. So kudos to you and all of the great work that you are focused on doing on behalf of others. So again, I think I've been listening to the conversation and just truly impressed, Jerry.
I truly want to be an ambassador to every nonprofit. Like I have to look at stats on my screen over here, but there's 10 million nonprofits worldwide. Isn't that crazy? 10 million. That's a lot. We're crazy, 377,000 we helped. But I have this little paper I printed out, and there's a PDF, whatever. You can go to microsoft.nonprofit.com. But here's what it says. It says, if you're a nonprofit, no matter what size, go this little link and sign up. And I went to a church and they're like bringing in bikes and stuff for Christmas. And I'm like, who's that nonprofit? Who's doing that? And I go over and talk to them. I say, hey, see this paper? You could get a good deal on software, at least if you're not doing that already. Like Microsoft 365, you could do email. I'm just an advocate for that, right? I'm just trying to say, doesn't matter what size you are. We want to help you from a Microsoft point of view. And, who knows? Maybe we get them off that free Google that doesn't work anyways, right? Because they're like, well, we got this for free. It doesn't really work. I say, hey, you can get ours the same, better. So anyways, I'm an ambassador for that, I think.
It's inspiring. I mean, okay, so Ray works in commercial, right? Ray, I work in commercial. Yeah. Sell it. I'm interested in this because there's so many really cool opportunities at Microsoft. And it sounds like this is an area that's going to continue to see growth and investment from Microsoft. So folks who work in technology, folks that work, as security practitioners and work in commercial right now, help us understand all of our skills transferable? I mean, you're under the CELA umbrella. Do you need ultimately to have some sort of legal background in any of these roles? Or I just like to understand more about how folks can get involved, right? Because it sounds like it's open to everybody.
It's the same role, to be honest. And so just because we send it to CELA is a positioning thing, but the skill set you need, if you're an account manager, it's account manager. If you're an account technology specialist, you're account technology specialist. If you're an Azure specialist on data, it's the same. It's the exact same translation across. And I was like, okay, we're discounting. I get that, like a good discount, and we have some top quality people. I figured out why they're there because they're hard. But I'm like, are we paying them less? It's not like it's not like you're saying, hey, you're getting half the pay that you would in commercial. It's the same pay scale. You are the same employee as you are here. There's no, the discounting is all about quota. You still have to give a quota to someone. You have to say, here's the bar. That's what you're trying to hit. And so that's exactly the answer. Is it's the same skill set. It's the same role.
Okay. But you can still go above and beyond and be rewarded for that, it sounds like.
Of course. I mean, you have the same RBI, CBI. You say, oh yeah, here's what you did, above and beyond. And so, you helped, whatever, again, usually what we reward is that, of course, you made whatever you said you're going to make. But the other is like, how did you help our nonprofits in their mission? It's beyond their technology. There's like, I don't know, like one of our guys went Team Rubicon. He went 2 weeks ago to Asheville and he slept on a cot in a little tiny shack. And I said, well, what skills did you have to go? He said, they just gave me a hazmat suit and a shovel, and he mucked out houses from all of the mud for a whole week. And he came back and we were going to a customer and he was beaming, literally. And I'm like, who beams after mucking out mud out of houses, And so, Brody, sometimes the reward is that, I'm telling you, of course there's monetary, you get, but, and, it wouldn't be bad for a career at Microsoft to be in Brad Smith's organization, because Satya, our guy, is the same kind of a spirit as Brad. Our culture is about helping. And so if your goal was to get up to upper management one day, I think it'd be great on your resume. Not particularly you, but I'm just saying in general, someone, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Well, like you said, it's more than just monetary, which is of course important. You got to sponsor your family, support your families, but you're talking about like real impact.
That's how the world works. Yeah, we know the world spins and money pays for it. So
yeah, like we all work in security, like Ray and I, it's real impact because I think security practitioners generally it's because of a larger mission, not just the job or the technology, right? And so now you're just bringing this to another level, right? Okay, so now we're executing on our mission and we're having that impact, and we're doing it with the most vulnerable organizations. And like Digital Defense Report said, like I think nonprofits are the second most attacked organization category now, and I was shocked to hear that, and also sad, right? And also angry. Yeah.
So they don't have the resources, right? And if I'm an adversary, that's easy money. That's, to be honest, that's where they're trying to get the easiest money they can get, for sure.
Jerry, when you talk to folks, what are the most fundamental considerations that you just wish in your heart of hearts that you didn't have to need to tackle with them? That if you could just show up to a conversation and there were like 3 things that they already, had top of mind or were at least working through to make the conversation a little bit easier, what would those be?
I think that the top thing for me is I wish our customers knew more about our products, and that's on us in some cases to do a better job. As an example, like Purview, you had mentioned Purview. Well, if one of the pillars of governance for me is visibility, we have some pretty good technology in Purview. Like we have AI Hub. It's this hub that says, hey, not only am I showing you the usage of Microsoft 365 Copilot, I'm showing you that here's all of that. It was what our cloud apps. It's the Defender cloud apps now, but it's showing you usage at least. Who's using what, and I'm like crazy because some of our customers own that technology. I said they get a really good deal on it and they own it. I'm like, why aren't you using it? And why did you go buy or get for free or close to free another competing one? It just doesn't make sense to me. So if I could show up, I wish they would know what we had. And that's part of my job too, is to help to say, look, just the basic education. People are trying to say, what's new at Ignite? For me, I'm like, you know what? We can tell our customers, let's have a new a new strategy. And we say, guess what? We have Defender for Endpoint. What are you talking about? We have an EDR. You have an EDR? That's crazy. And you think that's crazy? I met 2 of our customers that didn't even know we had EDR. So they bought CrowdStrike or SentinelOne. I said, they didn't even know we had it.
Or with their licensing, to your point, right? With their licensing, what they have access to, what they are privileged to use.
It's crazy, It's like, it doesn't matter if both were free. You have it. It happens. And so you can answer the question. I wish they were educated or at least knowledgeable. But to their defense, there's a lot. We have some great technologies. That's why we exist, all 3 of us. We have to help train them and help them educate on that. So education would be kind of the first thing I wish they would know about us. And I don't know. The second is, if I had a second, I don't know. I think AI. Everybody say AI. I get it, but I think that I wish they knew what a good partner in AI we are. It is my job to talk about governance of AI, but I mean, back to Brad again. We had a SELA summit a few months ago, and man, I'm blown away just by like all the data centers. What goes into that? What goes into the data center and AI? What goes into data center AI? What are these chips that cost $100,000 and they got to be cooled? And here's the lady that runs all of our data centers just building them. And I mean, I'm like, what goes into all of that? It's just crazy, and it's the 4th revolution, I think people are calling it, the industrial revolution, this AI revolution. And we are out there worldwide. So I want our customers just to say, look, okay, $30 for M365 Copilot. You tell that to a nonprofit, not just a for-profit. Nonprofit is like $30. That's more than I'm paying for my E5. So I'm wanting them to know, but here's the value you get. But again, the stat was the nonprofit is a little bit more forward leaning in the Copilot than commercial right now because out of necessity. So that's what I want them to know.
Nice.
And we love them.
No, I mean it is good business because of the interconnectedness of the world. Like it's yes, there is you have this motivation to be a good human being and do the good work of helping others, but also from a business perspective and being able to secure one organization is doing the great work of securing the world over, right? So it makes sense to have the investment in your business unit for sure.
I talked to one of our partners, which is very just one of the ones I love. CEO, we had a conversation, and 10 years ago he started their professional services, but he said he always started off not to make money. Him and his wife started it 10 years ago to say we want to help people. And he says, he does like free every Friday, he does free webinars for any topic and he'll help you. Like you want to fix something, come out, do it for free. Every Friday, there's an hour here, whatever. And he'll go out and say, hey, you want to migrate? You don't have enough eSIF? Okay, we'll help do that. But here's the point. He said they always made profit. They always made profit. It wasn't the point. And that's why I tell people if the point is only about profit, then you're never going to have enough. But the other is do good things. And he said he just saw his business grow because people would want to do more work with him and more work with him. So that just is great to see. I love that. I love partners. I love our partners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well put. Well put. Jerry, this has been a really compelling conversation. I mean, I'm really interested in learning more. I'm sure folks, our audience would love to learn more. You gave us that link. We'll make sure that goes in the show notes. Before we wrap up, I mean, is there anything you want to call out, like an exciting initiative coming forward in calendar year 2025 that you want to cross promote here? We'd love to help get the word out.
I don't know if we're just kind of steady. We're the steady eddies. I think that, for the rest of the year, we're going to continue on our mission of, consolidation of tools from a security and AI, understand the governance of it and how we can help. Past there, I think the link is my number one thing. If people say, hey, you know what? I know a nonprofit. I am in doing a nonprofit. You'll find that people are in doing that. I'm saying, go check it out and just sign up and register and see if you qualify for either grants or deep discounts. We want to give it away. You know what I mean? Like we're happy to. It's not like a constraint on we can't give enough away. So that would be my ask of anybody that would watch this or interested is like, just go check it out and see if you can. And if you don't, somewhere down the road, you'll figure out, be an ambassador for someone and share that as well.
Very cool. All right. You heard it here, folks. Microsoft wants to give you free stuff. Sign up and see if you qualify. I mean, that's the perfect closing sentence to any episode we've had in a while. So Jerry, thanks, man. I learned a lot. I'll add you on LinkedIn. I'll ping you on the side, get some more info on some things. I mean, very cool. We'll get any resources that you have. We'll make sure they're like I said, they're promoted externally here. And just thank you to you and your team for all you do and the passion that you're bringing for this. This has been a really enlightening conversation and your impact is obvious. And we just really appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your show too. I do watch it. Edward asked if I do, and I do watch it. So keep doing good work yourselves. And I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
all right, everyone. Take care. Thanks for joining us today, and tune in next week. I think we have a show next week. I don't remember. We'll find out. Just take a look at the schedule. Tune in. Jerry, thanks for coming on. Ray, marvelous seeing you. Everybody have a good one.